Good evening, everyone, and welcome to another week of the Ramp podcast. I'm your guest host for the evening, Diana Perkins, as Tina and I have been at Rhode on Capitol Hill 2022. It's been a great week with United Spinal talking to our legislatures about all things disability. And this week we are excited to be joined by Ken Reno and Christina Batista of the ARC Rhode Island. Welcome, everyone.
Hi.
Hi, everyone.
So, Ken and Christina, could you guys tell us a little bit about what you do at the ARC? Ken, you can go first.
Oh, thank you. Well, first of all, we'd like to thank you for inviting us on your show. This is exciting for us. I am the Associate Director for the ARC Rhode Island, and we're a small, mighty little civil rights office and organization for people with disabilities and their families. And I wear a lot of hats like any associate director these days. And tonight, we're happy to be sharing with you some of the things that we do with our circles of connections. And I'll kick it over to you, Christina.
Well, thanks, Ken. So again, my name is Christina Batista, and I am a group leader, which I've been part of the Circles Connection for probably a little over a year and a half, possibly 2 years now. And Ken will probably share a little bit more about the Circles Connection came about during COVID, where everybody really was isolated and staying at home. So this was a great way to connect people and build friendship, and it's a wonderful experience for all the people that are involved.
Yeah,
Awesome.
Diana and the audience, we started Circles of Connections when COVID first hit. I happened to be one of those people that accepted the associate director position at the ARC Rhode Island in January. And then in February, we're in complete lockdown. So welcome to a new job, welcome to COVID. And the thing that we were concerned about was sometimes people with disabilities and their families experience isolation and loneliness, even pre-COVID. And when COVID hit, we realized that that was going to be a really traumatic event for everybody, but specifically even more isolating potentially for people with disabilities and their families. So a few of us started to get together to figure out what can we do to address that critical need. And that's how Circles of Connections was born. We approached the Rhode Island DD Council for funding. And I just want to put a plug in and thank some of the funders of our Circles of Connection. They are obviously the Rhode Island DD Council, the Moran Gentry Foundation, the Rhode Island Foundation, and most recently we received a grant from the Christopher Reeve Foundation for Circles of Connections.
Very cool. So Ken, could you tell us a little bit more about what different groups that you have?
Sure. So to date, over the course of a couple of years here, we've had over 10 groups or 10 different circles running. So our most popular groups that we have, Christina is very popular with her circle, and she's running 2 different circles right now. One of them is building healthy relationships. So people are coming on board, talking about relationships, talking about self, and how to meet other people, and talking about dating and all the good things that come with all the different types of relationships that people have. There's also a very popular circle called Chat Saturdays, and that's run by 2 group leaders that alternate on Saturdays. And that is really just kind of a social circle that people come in and talk about things that are important to them. And that circle was so popular, we started a new one that we call affectionately, and that's the circle Christina runs as a group leader, Chat Saturdays 2.0. and so that's another really good one. We also have a rainbow circle for folks that identify as LGBTQ plus that have a disability. That's always been a very popular circle for us. We have a Dad's Rock Circle. So some dads that are getting together and talking about, life and being a dad, and either just raising kids with disabilities or sharing resources and making some connections together. We also have had, and we're rebooting, a Latina circle. So a circle for Latina women to talk about access, equity, and inclusion in community. We also have had circles for the other side of grief. So people that are experiencing grief and how to move positively with that, and incorporate some strategies that help you get through grief and just get back out into life in general. We also had a Land That Job circle. We've had a youth circle and special education advocacy. And we're just going to be rolling out a Living with Paralysis through Christopher Reeves circle. So the good news about all these circles are that it's an opportunity for people to get together and with other people that have a shared interest. And I'd like to let everybody know that Circles is very organic. We formed it by hearing from the community and families about what other people do you want to connect with? Who do you want to connect with? In what way? And what would you like to be talking about? So we hear from people at the ARC and we listen, and then we'll, figure out how to kickstart a circle.
Very cool. Thank you for standing by for some technical difficulties. I am currently still in a hotel in Virginia, but that's really cool about all the programs that you guys are doing. I could still hear you even when I was kicked out of the call briefly. So Christina, would you mind talking a little bit more about the groups that you run and what else you do at the ARC?
Absolutely. So currently I'm a group leader, but I kind of do some behind the scenes work if needed. So very soon I'll be going out to different agencies within the state of Rhode Island, just to kind of introduce who the circles are and to kind of recruit members who don't know us, because Rhode Island being a small state, unfortunately, we hear a lot about the bad things first. And I really want to put the buzz out there about the good things that we're doing. The groups that I'm currently facilitating, I absolutely love. Being a group leader, it's such a rewarding feeling. We talk about many different topics. Currently in the Healthy Relationships group, I have maybe about 3 or 4 individuals that come very faithfully. And not only are the members from Rhode Island, but I have some members that are from New Jersey as well, which is kind of neat, because not only are we talking and forming friendships in Rhode Island, but other states are welcome to participate as well. But the topics, we always start with one topic, and you will notice throughout the call, we talk about several different topics in between. Currently, my Healthy Relationships group, we talk a lot about building friendships and healthy friendships at that. Sometimes not every friendship can be a healthy one. So we talk about ways to identify the factors that are really important to look for. Also, Chat Friday, that's a wild group. Again, any topic goes, and we just roll with it. And, mainly I really want my members to know that they can open up. It's a safe space and we can talk about anything. And honestly, I've made such wonderful friendships myself through the circles that sometimes they will just text me when they have some good news to share, which is really nice and encouraging.
Mm-hmm.
That's wonderful to hear. So the Circles of Connections definitely sounds like a wonderful program. Ken, would you mind telling me some about what other kinds of services the ARC offers?
Oh, sure. Absolutely. I'd be happy to share that with you. So we are just going through legislative season, like you guys are involved in. And we're, the ARC of Rhode Island really is a civil rights organization, as I mentioned, for people with disabilities and their families. So part of our mission at the ARC of Rhode Island is to really speak our truth and to mobilize people. So to those two ends, we get a lot of calls into our office pre-COVID and a huge uptick during COVID about special education reform, the need for special education reform. So there is a very powerful group of families, over 200 plus families in the state of Rhode Island, that are part of a movement to push through an ombudsman bill in the state of Rhode Island for special education reform. So what the ombudsman office, the intent of it is a standalone office that's not associated with any state department, that families and students can go to if they feel like or they have experienced not getting the education that they deserve like any other student, very simply. And right now, the process for that is that if somebody is dissatisfied with either their school or their district, they can file a due process with Rhode Island Department of Education, which, it's there, but you have to have money basically to do that, because you have to hire a lawyer. And we all know lawyers have these things called retainers, right? That vary in price, but let's start at a $5,000 mark just to retain a lawyer. And then try to find a lawyer to represent you in the state is another challenge. And that's just the beginning. So families that are in this big, powerful group of families, by the way, which is called SPEAR, some of them have spent $50,000, $60,000, over $100,000 to get the education needs met of their loved ones, which is unacceptable to us. So we've done a lot of work with this, and this is a bill that has been in movement beginning almost 3 years ago. And the good news to share, there's good and bad news. The good news is that just recently it did pass through the Senate, and the person that introduced the bill is Lauren Carson, Representative Lauren Carson, who's wonderful, and it did pass, yay, but it didn't make it through the Senate. Melissa Murray is the person that is presenting that bill in the Senate. So where do we go from here? There are press releases that were sent out today from the state office, the ARC Rhode Island, about where the ombudsman bill is at this point, what people can do, and that the fight and the critical need is not over, right? Families and students still have these needs that are unmet. And so we push forward with that. We're also very concerned with youth in transition. So youth that are our students that are going to be exiting or graduating from schools and entering the adult system. And as we know with COVID, a lot of the provider agencies are experiencing staffing shortages, and across the board, typically that looks like about 50% less. They're running on 50% less staff than usual. So a lot of agencies are not taking on new people. And so that means that families have to do what's called self-directed supports if they want some kinds of services. So, you can imagine as a family walking into this, it's a complicated system we've created. And that's our job at the ARC, is to help people through this very complicated maze and get to a really good quality of life. So that's a lot of the work that we're doing, and we're doing a lot of work too with person-centered planning. So helping individuals identify what does a good quality of life look like for them, not your mom, your dad, everybody else. They're part of your support network, but hey, let's start with you. What do you want? What do you want to bring forth in your life, and how can we make that happen? So we're doing a lot with that and helping people. We're trying on some new things too. We're trying on life coaching. So we'll do some person-centered planning with people. And then we have a great gentleman. His name is Jeremiah Klon, and he does life coaching for individuals. So that's meeting with the individual, talking about, hey, we talked about this in the person-centered plan. How are we doing with that? Giving people coping strategies to, navigate through life. And, specifically, a lot of the work has been navigating through COVID and the challenges related to that. So, that's some of the work that we're doing at the ARC.
Sounds like you guys are pretty busy over there. Good luck with the bill passing the Senate and with the rest of your legislative work. Now,
Yeah,
Christina,
just to be clear, it did not pass this year, but we have not given it up, right? We're gonna pick it up and continue the fight, continue to get in the press, and we've had really good coverage, great support from a lot of our elected officials. We have the families motivated, and I can honestly say there are other ombudsman bills that have been drafted for other populations that they've been working on getting those passed for 6 years, and have never even gotten one of the two, the House or the Senate, passed. So to me, it's an amazing accomplishment, but
definitely.
We're not satisfied till it is legislation and it's put into practice to help these families and students.
Heck yeah. Now, Christina, you and I have become friends from working together on the board of RAMP, but we originally met when you came to teach about disability and relationships in a class that I was taking in college. So you've clearly been doing this for a while. How did you get interested and so comfortable and open talking about disability and relationships?
That's a great question. So anybody that knows me knows I am definitely not a quiet person. I always am talking. Maybe that's just because that's who I am. I'm not sure. But, I was born with my disability. Having a physical disability is just a part of who I am. And being a part of who I am, it's just being comfortable talking about my disability and sharing my life story with others. So when Ken approached me to be a group leader, I was all in right from the beginning. And Ken and I have done a lot of work together in the past as well. So when I had this opportunity, I went for it. And honestly, talking with the group members, it's second nature to me. I think the group members really can relate to me a lot because of the fact I do have a physical disability and I'm not afraid to share my story. And even as an example, the other day, I had the opportunity to speak to one of my members just one-on-one. And she shared some, intimate things with me as far as medical situations. And I shared with her as well. We actually had a common medical situation. And she said to me, and it was really heart touching. She says, I didn't know you went through this experience. She goes, so for you to share this with me really made me feel like I can talk to you about things. And to me, it was, I was very sad that she had gone through the same situation, but it was really nice to know that she felt that she could trust me and really tell me intimate details of her life. So, but like Ken, I wear many different hats, and I'm always up for anything really, especially in the disability community.
Definitely. I know from our conversations, you're very easy to talk to and open up to. So I'm glad that your group members have been able to have that experience as well.
Thank you.
Ken, how did you get into this field of work and working with the disability community and the ARC?
Well, that's a great question. I feel like I've always been working in this field. I have a brother with a disability, and I'm of a certain age. I won't share my age, but I'm the older guy, that growing up, my brother lived with my family, and we lived in Massachusetts. And that was back in a time when there were no service provider agencies available to people. And my family was actually being sued by the state of Massachusetts to get custody of my brother, to put him in an institution. And our family fought that. And at the time, luckily, and it's so funny how life goes around full circles sometimes. So at the time, there was this, nonprofit organization out of Washington called the Ark that was sending out a template for families to start nonprofit service provider agencies for people with disabilities. And my mother was one of those crazy grassroots parents that jumped on board, saw the need, wanted to do it for not only my brother, but other people in our community. And they formed an ARC. And here we are all these years later, where I'm the associate director of the ARC Rhode Island. And I'll give a shout out to Joanna Skokie, who's our executive director and fearless leader, for hunting and tracking me down for over a year till I said yes to accept the position. Because like Christina, I've always had a professional career motivation to help end violence against women with disabilities and help people create healthy relationships. So before I took the job at the ARC, I had and still have a consulting business called Into You Relationships LLC. So I'm a certified sexuality educator through the state of Massachusetts and Planned Parenthood. And I've been doing that work for groups, either men's groups or, groups of folks together, or individual consulting for over 16 years now. And I love that work, to help somebody find that person in their life is the greatest reward. And to help somebody find the relationship to themselves is even greater, through the use of all these different person-centered planning tools that I've been fortunate enough to be trained by the authors of the tools. Jack Pierpoint, John O'Brien, Linda Kahn, Beth Mount. I've been able to really make change in people's lives, like improve quality of life for people. I always challenge myself as a facilitator and people working with individuals to get to that aha moment of, yeah, that's it. That's the secret sauce, right?
Wow, that is such a cool story. I am so glad that you told us about that. That's really cool. Yeah, Christina, besides being an excellent group leader, what else do you do at the ARC?
So basically, my main role is a group leader, but like Ken said, when they need some assistance with bills and just being supportive, I am definitely there. I will do anything for the ARC, whatever they would like. I will say that Ken, Joanna, and the rest of the staff at the ARC are wonderful people. I also want to give a shout out to the other group leaders. I work with about 6 or 7 other group leaders, and I have to say we have weekly or bi-weekly calls, and we all come together, and it's just really nice to support each other. Sometimes the group leaders can't meet every session, so a lot of the times we will help one another out. So this way the members aren't missing any meetings as well. So we're really a team, and we help each other out whenever we can. So it's really great. And I also wanted to add, like Ken, about his story with his brother. I guess in the late 70s, that's when I was born. Gosh, I hope I'm not outdating myself. But like Ken's brother, my family was actually told the same thing when I was born, that I would never be able to walk, talk, eat, or do anything, and that I should be institutionalized. And my parents did not want to hear that. And here I am many years later, and I feel that I was given this body for a reason with my physical disability. So, you know, like Ken said, things happen for a reason. So everything I've done has been motivated by my own personal story. So I went to school to get my master's in vocational rehab counseling. So I currently help individuals look for employment. I help share my story just by doing some motivational speaking engagements. Everything I do is really centered around living with a disability. And do I think it rules my life? Absolutely not, but it's a part of me. And again, I love helping people, and that's just really my mission in life.
That's really wonderful. Thank you for sharing that. So Ken first, and then Christina, you can add some if you want. How can the listeners of the Ramp podcast support what the ARC is doing? How can we help?
So thank you for asking that. So one of the things is that if people are listening and they're interested in Circles of Connections, they can go on the ARC website, and that is ri.thearc.org. And once you get onto our website, you can see Circles of Connection. You click on it, and you will see an application. And you can just fill out, it's just basic information, who you are, what you're interested in, and what kinds of other people would you like to connect with. Like I said, it's very grassroots. So Dad's Rock was formed by some dads saying, hey, we need other dads to talk to, right? So that's a way for people to get involved. And if you're not a computer person and you don't like navigating a computer, please feel free to call our office. Our number is 401-363-9899. One of our staff there will be able to help you out. And this is a great time to give a shout out to all the great staff that we have, all about 4 of us that work so hard in our office to make things happen. Another way that people might choose to get connected with us is through funding through the Rhode Island DD Council. We also run a Rhode Island Facilitators Forum. So that's a group that gets together and talks about facilitation, life coaching, how to facilitate person-centered plans that help and benefit people discover what they want out of life and create a great future. And we're always looking to bring on new people into that. If you are a parent that happens to have a child that is in special education and you want to join our movement with that, part of our mission is to build the movement, and it continues to grow. You can just call our office again and speak with us. Let us know that you want to join in. And we host lots of Zoom meetings to mobilize people. We've done rallies at the State House. There are some, regular weekly and monthly calls that people can jump into to start making some change happen. So there's a lot that you can do. And the other thing is, maybe you're not in a space right now as an individual with disabilities or a family to jump into these things, but you might have some questions or some needs that we can help guide you with. So, all you have to do is pick up the phone and give us a ring. We're friendly. We don't bite. Right, Christine?
Absolutely.
Great. I just want to clarify 2 quick things. One is for anyone listening who didn't get to see the title card. The ARC is spelled A-R-C, not A-R-K, correct?
Yes, correct.
And the other one is, I was wondering if you could just give a quick definition of what a person-centered health plan is.
Person-centered planning is where we use different tools to help people discover what they want to put their energy into. What do they want their life to be? And it's a very systematic, there are systematic tools to help people get to those things. So some of them for students, we could use, some people in the audience might be familiar with a map or that's making action plans. And that's a great tool. The authors say that that's a tool of, hey, just sit there and tell us your story. So for students, that's a great tool. Tell us your story, make a vision. We'll talk about your contributions and talents. We'll figure out what it takes to move those forward into community and membership and connection, and we'll end with an action plan. Another very popular tool is called PATH, and that's PATH is, the authors say, don't just sit there, do something, right? So that's a very strategic plan of, again, a vision. What do you want to accomplish that's positive and possible in a year? What's happening in your life now? Who are the people or organizations you can enroll to get there? And what are some first steps? And what are some charting actions? So in PATH, those letters stand for Planning Alternative Tomorrows with Hope. So a very simple capture for all those tools are, they help people plan for their future, a future that they want, not what's dictated to them by departments or other entities.
Very cool. Thanks for telling us about that. Christina, is there anything you'd like to add about how listeners can support the ARC, or why people listening should call the ARC and get involved?
I think there's a lot of great reasons why they should get involved with the ARC, but especially being a group leader like myself, I think forming friendships of different kinds is wonderful. I've gotten the experience to meet so many different people that I wouldn't have come across otherwise. So if nothing else, just friendships are formed, which is awesome. I would say the feeling at the end of the day after having a facilitator, either forum like Ken had mentioned, or just being an ARC leader, or just being a participant, you walk away with a sense of fulfillment. And I think whoever wants to join should definitely give it a shot. Give it a shot, see if you like it, and if you don't, that's okay too. It's sometimes people just gotta figure out what they want at the end of the day, and I'm just really happy to be a part of it.
The other thing I'd like to interject here too is that if you happen to be listening to this, or an audience member that is struggling with special education for your child or loved one, you're not alone. There's lots of other families that are struggling as well. And we do have trained, certified special education advocates at the ARC. So again, pick up the phone, give us a call. And I like the way Christina said that, just have a conversation with us about what some of the struggles or critical needs are that you have. And we can, provide you with some resources, or maybe you need more intensive supports. Maybe you need to meet with one of our educational advocates to figure out a plan of how you're going to approach the school department or what particular school. And we oftentimes give, advocacy support with our special educators, advocates, to go to IEP meetings. I can tell you myself, from being in many meetings with my brother, that were really difficult meetings, that even myself, with all these years life experience as an advocate and being in the system, sometimes I would sit there in a meeting for my brother that was really particularly difficult, and I would lose my voice. So I learned it's always really great to have an advocate with you, a colleague, an ally, somebody that knows, what's important to you, and what's important to your loved one, child or brother or sister, that they can step in for you if you happen to lose your voice. It happens to all of us. It always amazes me how vocal and, how much of a strong advocate I can be for people. But when it comes to my brother, sometimes I lose it. And, I've come to terms that that's okay. It's just that I need to be able to plan for that so that there is a backup plan, right?
Of course.
I would also say that for people to join the newsletter, to get the newsletter once a month, because that's a lot of information that you get. And even if you're not ready at this point to jump in, just kind of seeing what's going on at the ARC is really fun. And it gives you some ideas of, what you can do to help yourself or your loved one. And like Ken said, definitely call the ARC. They are just amazing people, and they'll be able to help you with lots of things.
Awesome. Well, thank you. Go ahead.
I always hate to say this, but of course, if you happen to have some money and you'd like to donate to us, we're not going to say no.
Definitely. Well, thank you both so much for joining us, and thank you all for listening to us talk with Christina and Ken. Next week, Tina will be back. You won't have to listen to me. We will be talking to Oak Street Health with guests Isabel Ramirez Burnett. And the 29th, we will be talking to the Office of Healthy Aging. So definitely tune in next week for that. And I will be back hosting again in July. So thank you for your patience with me. This was my first time hosting, and we had some technical difficulties, but we have a great team on the back end when we made it through. And as Tina always loves to say, don't just sit there, make a difference.
Thank you, Diana.
Thank you, Diana. You did a great job.
Thank you.
To take home the Golden Gloves, you've got to put in the work, and you've got to be tough as nails. Ashley Kalis was driven to achieve. Today, Kalis is still fueled by that same hope, grit, and determination. A mother of 3 school-aged boys and successful business owner who ran testing and vaccination sites across the state. Kalis is the fighter Rhode Island needs right now because it's time for a change. Ashley Kalis for governor.